Good morning. Good morning. All right. So today we're going to talk about the Leadership Competency Evaluation Form, the LUCI. Kenneth Behrens went over it briefly 2 weeks ago. We're just going to do a little bit more in depth, kind of break it down for you so you guys understand what it is. All right. As an FTO a couple years ago, I was really disappointed. One, they did change the form that year, that summer. So like FTP didn't even have this form while you guys were going through. But they hadn't even seen the previous edition, the one with the OODA loop on it. All right. So our goal is to familiarize you with this form. So when you go to field training, the first time that they're showing you and they're grading you on it, you're like, what's that? Because I had a couple cadets, and even last year when Captain Schilling went, they're like, I never even heard of Lucy. So they're setting themselves up for failure. That debt failed them in prepping them for field training. Okay? So this is our goal is to get you ready, fully ready, without pretty much giving you the answers. This is my book, but we'll give you guys a heads up. All right. So overview of what I'm going to go over today. What's a Lucy? Why? Why do we do it? Section breakdown, so I'm going to go over each section, and the depth expectations of what you need to do with the Lucy. And then a summary, and I'll show you my sources. All right, so this is a Lucy. Not the full form, I had to cut it off a little bit just to get it on there. That's the front page, that's the back page. Okay, that's what it looks like. So if you ever see like a FTO at field training and getting a form out, you got to know someone's about to get graded on something. All right. I'll let you guys know that when I was an FTO, you didn't really have enough time to get as many Lucies as you could on somebody. So when I assigned somebody as academic officer, I gave them like a task throughout the entire day. I got a Lucy out and I graded them all day on their ability as a, doesn't have to be during a leadership exercise. It can be all day on your position, on what you do. Just know we're always looking, always evaluating, okay? Never assume that they're not watching, because we are. We're everywhere. All right, so why? Pretty much straightforward. Critical thinking ability and your leadership qualities, okay? If you get put in charge of a GLP, you just freeze and just start trying to solve it, then you're not critically thinking. You got to think outside the box a lot of the time. Sometimes the answer's right in front of your face, but sometimes you really do got to break it down and think about it. All right, and your leadership. So this is directly from this instruction guide. The Lucy has been developed for use as a tool to evaluate a student's leadership qualities during any leadership exercise. That's why. That's why we do it. It's an evaluation tool. Is it the end-all, say-all of of your leadership potential? No, but it does give us a good idea of where you're at. Okay. If you're failing 3 in a row, then we have an issue. Okay? Should at least passing. The evaluation points are directly tied to the OODA loop, which is observe, orient, decide, and act, and the 8-step problem-solving model. So all my 300s know the 8-step problem-solving model now?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Yeah, I heard about that one. All right. All right. So here it is. Here's your OODA loop. Okay? So you got to observe, orient, decide, and act. So 8-step problem solving. I'm going to build a content for you guys. Don't worry about it. Taking notes. Step 1 is clarify and validate the problem. Don't start trying to solve it if you don't know what the problem is. It's like trying to fix something that's not broken. What's the problem? Identify it. Break down the problem. Identify performance gaps. Then you're moving on to the orient. Set improvement targets and determine the root cause. Why do we have this problem? All right. Then you're going to decide. Develop countermeasures. Here's what we're going to do. This is the idea we're going to go with. Then on act, steps 6 through 8. You're going to see the countermeasures through. You're going to confirm the results of the process. Okay, did we solve it? Okay. And then standardize successful processes. That can even go from one GLP to the other. You know what? This worked really well in the last GLP. Let's take it on to the next one. Okay. We worked well during this process. All right. Any questions on the OODA loop? This is not the last time you're going to hear about the OODA loop into your entire Air Force career. You're going to hear about it a lot. Okay. 300-year SOS. We still talk about it 6 years after our OTC. So. All right, here's section 1. Mission development, mission planning, and mission execution. Read these lines right here. Recognize, so mission development, this is what I'm grading you on when you first start the process, all right? Did you recognize the correct problem? Did you gather key data? Because sometimes the person, you may want to ask them if they have more information to give you. Just saying, all right? Mission planning. Consider feasibility, effectiveness. Use the brainstorming guidelines. Real quick, the brainstorming guidelines. Withhold judgment, quantity, not quality. Hitchhike ideas and encourage freewheeling. Okay, so just talk to your people. What is going on? How can we, anybody have any ideas? Let's start brainstorming now. Determine required performance levels. So what do I mean by performance levels? How to We're going to move quietly. We're going to move with a sense of urgency. Remain close together. Involve separate, you see a team member that's kind of, going back, say, I need you to come over here and be my time hack. Get people involved that seem, disinterested, uninterested, or anything like that. And then moving in a little profile. Set performance levels, give them direction of what they're going to do. You're going to be my time hack, all right? You're, assign the leadership positions. Okay, and then determine standards and milestones. Examples of those, these are going to be set by the leader. They should be set by the leader. If your deputy or someone in the group starts trying to set these, I'm going to start circling another part where I'll talk about it here in a little bit. The leader should always be, I should go up to a group at any time and go, that person is obviously the person in charge of this group. Okay? If I have to go up there and actually sit there for 5 minutes going, I have no clue who the person is in charge. That's bad. Okay? Determine standards and milestones. For example, we're going to do no fouls, no penalties. All right? That's our goal. No fouls, no penalties. Make sure you take all the equipment. All decisions will go through me. Okay? You guys set that standard. And then I'll show you guys in a little bit. There's number 3 of the leadership competencies. Right? Display accountability. Are you holding them accountable to the standards that you've set as a leader? Okay? Then you're moving on to mission execution. Communicate and set the plan into action. You monitor the implementation. Correct the deviations from the plan, and then standardize best practices. I look at this one a lot, the first two, because if it's a really detailed thing, I don't want to see the leader running around like a chicken with its head cut off trying to solve the issue. They're essentially like the top of it, kind of looking down. Put yourself at a 30,000-foot view, and all the decisions are coming through you. Like, yes, it's a good idea. Go ahead and see it through. And they're kind of making a round. Like, how's that task coming? Good, good, good. How's that task coming? Good, good. Just check on them, that kind of thing. But I don't want to see the leader the one stressing out about it. It's ultimately your responsibility, but if you put people in charge of it, hold them accountable. That speaks volumes to me as the evaluator. All right. I put this down here. I try to get in there. Shaded areas or critical areas. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in a second. So here's a section breakdown of that, what we just went over. Mission development, the reason, what does it accomplish? So you're trying to clarify and validate the problem, break down the problem, identify the performance gaps. Mission planning, that's your time to gather ideas. In my time evaluating, 75% of people fail in these two areas right here. That's why they're bold and underlined. Because you just go straight to mission execution. Here's the problem, let's do it. We're just going to start building the wheel. It's like, well, you might want to have a couple designs before you start wasting resources and time. Because, hey, AS100 class up last week, you guys just went straight to the board and started trying to figure out the process instead of taking time to sit there and come up with a plan and a process to get to the answer. Don't always just start trying to solve the problem. Sometimes it takes a little time and finesse to get it going. For the most part, you have 45 minutes to do these. Yeah, sometimes they're a little faster, but once you have a plan, just go like that. Okay? All right. Here's the next section, mission execution process. Here's the points. These two, and then right here, these are the big ones right here. I'm going to talk about them in a second. Clearly recognize the mission objective and maintain command of team members. And you see here, yes and no. What happens if you get circled on a no? Automatic failure of the IAC. Okay? I'm not going to stop you. You're going to keep solving the problem, but I'm going to give you feedback on the rest of your abilities. But if you can't maintain the command of your team members, like what I said, I'm going down there and I'm like, I can't tell who's in charge. They've obviously failed that portion. Okay? You've got to maintain that command. And you clearly recognize mission objective. You're just like, I give you the instructions, and you don't even talk about what the objective is. You start trying to solve a problem, and there's really no clear where you're going. Then you fail to recognize the correct problem. Okay? Our battery's dying. All right, here we go. Let's see if it maintains. Okay. All right, leadership competencies. So that's what we just went over, right? These are critical areas. Yes or no, simple. If you don't get a yes on these, you fail the Lucy, and you're going to have to go again. Okay? Here's the rest of it. So this is all together. You can't tell on this page right here, but number 1 is also shaded. It's a critical area. If you get a 0, if you get anything less than 1, you fail the Lucy. Okay? So you have 3 opportunities to fail. This one, and this one. 1, 2, and 1. Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. You recognize it? Okay. Okay, so another thing. So you have 10 sections, right? Delegated authority with relevant responsibilities. Number 3, that's what I talked about. During your mission development, You are identifying milestones, you're setting standards. And this is where I look at. Once I write down, once I hear you say the standards and milestones, I write them down, and then I see if you're holding them accountable for it. Okay? And this number one thing is very important, because if you don't have the confidence and if you're seeking validation the entire time, like that's not a good idea. Like you have zero confidence. So, just make a decision and follow through. Don't second guess yourself, because the moment you start second guessing yourself, you're going down a rabbit hole you don't want to go down. So demonstrate flexibility, because sometimes the person in charge will throw a little trick in there or something like that. Not to trick you, but just say, hey, that person's dead. The person that's really standing out, doing a good job, like the biggest helper, that person's dead. Now you got to figure out what to do after that. Okay. Display military variance. So this one's self-control. If you start crying during this thing, yeah, I'm going to circle a big zero on that. All right. I have to feel ashamed. I'm like, you got to kidding me. Like, that's not self-control right there. Military bearing, you gotta keep it together. Communication skills, kind of walking around, talking to everybody, like, hey, get ideas from every single person before you start even going. Does anybody else have any input? You haven't said anything yet. What do you got? All right, and then promoted free flow of information. Go back kind of hand in hand. But the leader needs to be the hub. All right. So if you're not the hub of communication, you don't have control of your team, and so that's gonna take you back up here. Circle no. Okay. It's all together. Okay. Everything kind of drives itself. Motivated, inspired team. Are you coaching them? Your cheerleader is keep motivating them. Some people really strive, excel at that. You guys are doing great. Keep it up. That's what we need to do. Maybe you need to do this, but don't be such a straight cheerleader. You also have to give them feedback and ways to improve. All right. Maintaining the appropriate focus and urgency. Like I said, don't run around the chicken with the head cut off, but don't I guess that's a good idea. It's like obviously you're not trying to figure this out. Okay. Then team building, performing, just working with everybody and going through. Okay, so like I said, the critical area, you must score at least 1 point. This is the majority of your points. This is where all the points come from. All right, I circled the yes because 1 point, and you don't fail if you don't continue. Okay, that's not a critical area. You're not going to fail if you don't solve the problem. Your number one goal should be solve the problem. As a team, you feel that sense of accomplishment. You want to. That is your goal. To solve the problem, but just know that we're looking at a lot more than just your ability to solve the problem. Okay, we want to see you go through the process and figure it out. All right, so expectations. Okay, this is I'm passing down to the POC as well. I want you to be familiar with the OCS forum too. That forum that we've just been talking about the entire time. I'm going to put together a book. Loose basically on this book right here. All right, I'm going to put the brainstorming guidelines in there, highlight it, put it together, so you guys can look at it anytime you want. It's going to be in the lounge, maybe electronic version of it as well. Okay, but you should, especially 200s, you need to know this form front and back. All right, and know key words, key phrases. You want to stand out for all the right reasons. Always do better than the last one that you did. Okay, if you failed the first Lucy, you're not going to fail again. Right? If you got a sat on the last one, now you're going to get even a higher stat. You want to always, improve the scores, right? All right, here you go. You got a 13? No, strive for a 22 now. All right, you want to build the points up where you failed. Okay, we're going to keep these copies of these Lucy forms, so I can turn to FP, look at it, and say, well, you're not progressing, or you are progressing for the right reasons. Okay, and then if you get a high sat, now you definitely want to get an outstanding. Okay, that's the goal. Always do better than your last one. Ask questions and seek feedback. Okay, don't wait until you fail Lucy to start asking, like, what can I do different? Like, you should have been asking this question 6 months ago. All right, so my door's always open, isn't it? I've rarely closed it. I stop a lot of work to talk to you guys. My door's open. I'm available. Bottom line, come talk to me. Seek feedback. What am I lacking in the leadership world? What am I lacking in terms of communication? What am I lacking? For the most part, I'm talking to you guys during your midterm counseling anyway, trying to give you that feedback. But you need to seek it too. All right. Feedback goes both ways. You need to come seek it and give it to me too. If I'm doing something wrong, you gotta let me know. But I'm gonna come find you and let you know what you're doing wrong as well. Okay? And then, so don't wait until the very end. Any questions real quick on this form? Okay? Go too fast. Do you understand what we're kind of looking for? Don't jump in with it. Take your time. Yes, sometimes there is one that's 5 minutes long. You have to kind of figure it out. But at least set a plan before you just try to start solving. Go through the process. All right, summary. Talk about what a Lucy was, why we do it, critical thinking. What's your leadership capabilities? You know, everyone's not perfect. No one's gonna get, not everyone gets a 28 on it, or I think that's as high as you can get, or 27. But at least strive to do well and go through the process, okay? Section breakdown and expectations. Real quick, at field training, you're not gonna get standard GLPs for some of your Lucies. Some of you are gonna get Lucies with a very hard scenario, okay? You might be doing mount training or convoy training, security forces. Those were hard. I got people complaining to me straight up, like, well, that person got, you know, a GLP in the DFAC for, you know, figuring out a box, and I got to do a GLP. I get graded on leading a fire team down a road. It's like, so I'm not expecting you to know perfectly how to do a fire team. I'm not grading you on your lingo abilities on getting someone down the road. I'm looking at your critical thinking abilities. Do you freeze under pressure? Don't be so, you know, kind of focused on, well, I don't know how to speak security forces talk. Don't worry about it. I don't know how to speak security forces talk. I'm grading on your ability to think things through, okay? All right, here's my sources. The leadership, I actually use the AS300 book, the OOLU. And then the OTS manual. All right, any questions? Like I said, mission completion is 0 point. 1 to 0 points. It's going to be all right. All right? Carlson scoreboard. Okay. Everyone needs to start watching that movie. All right. I got agree.
Okay, less than. Sorry. You have less than 3 minutes to get to Clum Gym.